Hey, we're live. And hey, welcome to Funny How High, everybody. And to make it official,
This is 2OF Entertainment.
What could be more reprehensible than two old farts? Three old farts featuring Dave and Steven and Greg Shapiro with Funny Ha
we're back, boys and girls. Another month of excitement. How you doing?
Ha. I'm funny. Funny, haha.
It's funny, haha. So, and we lost David. Oh, this is what happens.
We're fighting to get David back.
Yeah, he was. That's what happens. You go on your boat with all the Tahitian boys oiling you up, and then that's it. So now he's all right. Well, I'm sure he'll be back. He was here a moment ago.
The last two episodes, I think, previous.
Yeah, because he's been.
We were missing David. Oh my god! All right. Well, so let's get to some funny haha.
Sure. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me.
I don't know. I saved up some examples.
Okay.
And David and I were just previously talking about, beginning with the end in mind. The last example I have here, which was, people storing solar energy, and you create so much solar energy that you need to offload it back to the grid, and now they're making you pay
to the grid
for all of the excess energy that you create. Anyway, we'll get to that, but I find
that's funny.
Haha.
I do. Hey, I got one even better for you. We talked about this right before the show. Let me just read this headline because this to me is hysterical.
Okay.
Not in a good or bad way. Donald Trump attack on green energy could hurt U.S. in AI race, data center warns. Industry needs renewables to meet struggling power demand for artificial intelligence. So basically, AI is taking so much of the power their data centers and the AI and the cloud and everything else. That Trump goes renewable energy, poo-poo on that. And there's no such thing as climate warming. And now the data center's like, well, we don't have enough energy. And China, on the other hand, is now becoming correct. Coal is not going to do it. And but he doesn't understand that. And now China is becoming like the world leader now in renewable energies, right behind like Dubai and the rest of them.
China's also, like you've been saying, Stephen, they're not necessarily saying like, well, we need to get rid of fossil fuels forever, but they want renewables to be as big as fossil fuels, I guess.
No, but China's thinking, see, once again, China has a 2050 plan. They also probably have a plan to 3000. So they understand that the minerals are going to die, and they understand all of this. So they're saying, okay, hey, you know what we'll do? We'll plan ahead, and as we wean off fossil fuels or coal or whatever it might be, we'll kind of do this other thing. So their data centers, there was a picture the other day, a satellite picture, I forget where in China, I think it was for Alibaba or one of them, and it was shown, or Baidu, I'm sorry, Baidu, there was this vacant like 50 hectare plot, 50 hectares of nothing, which is like 100 acres. And now there's this mega center. And the satellite photo shows their mega center for their AI, but all like wind turbines and solar to make sure that the plant runs and doesn't have to be dependent on fossil fuels.
Right.
Until we come up with like a nuclear power plant this big, then not happening. So
maybe like Trump saying, let's ban all the crypto mining. That might help. Give it a little bit of space. Money.
All the crypto mining except for my own crypto.
Right.
And
did you see the other article in the FT? Melinda, somebody made $100 million in basically 3 minutes on her crypto because when somebody bought it and then it zoomed up and within a 24-hour period, I would say 24 hours, but literally in 3 minutes, they made $100 million and then dumped it all. And then there's a chart that shows pump and dump. And I'm thinking there's a thing called the Logan Act. Maybe we should look into that. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that's
know.
yeah, but that's a bit like people who run red traffic lights. That doesn't apply to them, and it applies to other people. So it's all right to it's all right to pump and dump and rip people off. That's fine as long as you don't get caught. Then you just say I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I voted for Donald, and then you're all right.
Or unless you're Donald, in which case you never say sorry. And
no, he's always indeed, never say sorry.
More and more. Well, there was another. Sorry about the AI and the data centers. I hosted an event not long ago for data centers in the Netherlands, right? And the Netherlands is constructing wind power plants, solar power to partially power these AI or data centers. Actually, one of them was called Orange Tulip Data, and it turns out it's just Facebook. And once the province found out about it, they were like, wait, no, we wanted
real stuff
the data center would be used for. But anyway, the whole day they just kept talking about we need capital to build the data centers, and we need power. We need to figure out where.
They don't have any power. They don't have any power. That's the
we
problem.
Need power. I was like, you sound like stereotypical big business bad guys. We need money, and then we need power. But they do. They need more and more of this stuff. We are making video right now. The number one podcasting platform is not audio only. It's YouTube. There's more and more video, more and more in the cloud. So
and we are.
Well, we're okay because we sponsored a group of people to go down to Spain to steal lots of copper wires from their rail system. So and we cashed all that in so we could run the show.
Hey, did we ever figure out why Spain had I read this article. I mean, I know Spain was Portugal were blacked out for 3 days, and nobody knows why. It's like the government's looking into it.
We know why.
We don't.
Yeah, we know
why. Why? What happened?
Well, choose one. Russians, North Koreans.
Okay, got it. I got
it. The French didn't put the right plug in.
I believe
when they were connecting everything up.
He got all of these from AI, which is powered by.
No, I didn't. I've just followed conspiracy theories like everybody else does. And,
oh my God!
Wait, did you hear though the most technical? Okay, great. Many conspiracy theories started coming out. Spain, Portugal, and parts of France. I mean, this sounds like. Didn't they just do a Netflix the one with Robert De Niro? Called
where he was the president thing, and then he did the same thing. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to watch Netflix.
It's just So Robert De Niro predicted it, but it was a false flag operation, I guess, so that they could demonstrate. Oh, if we're too connected, to all these cyber systems, and there's a cyber attack, then thousands of people will die when the traffic lights don't work.
I'm good with that.
I'm okay, because I've just bought a whole load of stocks in nappies and stuff, because trust me, December, baby boom time. Oh, everywhere. What else do you do in a hot country?
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's true, in America, and back in the 60s when they had the blackout. Here's what's funny, because in the 60s when they had the blackout, there was literally a 3,000% in babies in New York, right? I get that.
Boom. That's everywhere. It happens in the UK.
But unfortunately, what's happening now is that you see people under a certain age, I think it's 40, are having less sex because they don't go out and they're on the internet.
They don't have to have sex. The boomers are having sex for them.
Yeah, but if you're going to buy these baby nappies, you have to have sex and babies. the people that are baby boomers, they're not having babies, and the 20-year-olds are
Yeah,
just too busy working off the porn and with no internet. They're not doing anything. They're sitting in the
there
dark.
was no porn. There was no porn. There was nothing.
What are you doing? There's no
all the
porn,
lights
Steven.
went. Yeah,
No.
the lights
Hey,
went out,
hookers.
and so we go back to basic instincts, and so
Okay.
I mean, what they couldn't go shopping, and
All
they
right,
couldn't
David,
look
I
at-
like your
they couldn't-
idea.
they-
9 months.
You
Okay.
couldn't look at couldn't look at Facebook. So but guys, we'll I'm telling everybody, come back and watch this show. But in December,
Wow.
it's going to be baby boom time.
Maybe the incels turned
Portugal,
off
Portugal. Well, it could have. I mean, could have been the new pope. He's could be lining up for another big surge.
there were rumors, internet conspiracies, that
here we
Spain
go.
power outage was due to over reliance on solar power and wind and renewables.
Electricity. That's strange.
I
isn't
have
it?
not seen any evidence for that, but it could be. I did read that, or I heard on Dutch news, the Dutch NOS news, they said maybe the most likely culprit was this weird atmospheric condition that is just a fluke. It's happened before and knocked out some grids, but it's just oddly Spain, Portugal, they're all connected with this bottleneck that that should be fixed. But it's not very interesting or sexy. But
well, I heard that as well. I mean, it happened in the US. I think about 8 years ago. It happens in Australia. You have to have all
the
the
explainer graphics. I didn't understand it, but sorry.
Well, I mean, who changed the? Okay, so it's the weather, but who changed the weather? Was it the North Koreans?
Oh,
was it the Chinese?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, somebody's got to own up to this. Well, maybe it's Pampers themselves. Maybe they said, guys, go in there, pull the plug out, and we'll get stocked up for Christmas. Could be.
Christmas. Oh, wait, I read something about that. Here. Oh, sorry. I have a category that
Christmas.
is, if I may, because I
it's your show, mate.
There's a category that I thought Stephen would like. It's called stupid good news. It's
I love this.
Right. It's stupid good news. It's okay. So there is news with the shipping industry. Like there's been talk of a carbon tax, right? A tax on carbon. Yeah, Stephen, I can tell you're excited. Fireworks.
Yes.
Let's hope they're fireworks.
The first ever, see if I get this right. The first ever tax on carbon emissions is targeting the shipping industry. So the International Maritime Organization, it's official. A majority of countries, shipping countries, part of the IMO, have now agreed to $100 per ton of greenhouse emissions for the shipping industry.
Right.
This will amount to $12 billion per year that they'll use to reach their target of greening the shipping industry. But it is so they're gonna raise money by emitting more and doing more shipping. That was before the tariffs hit, and now there's going to be no more shipping. Christmas is canceled. You can't have $30. You can't have $3. There's no more dollars. Nothing.
No more greenhouses either. I mean, that's going to be said.
Well, Trump.
No more greenhouses.
If you cut, if you have to pay tax and everything, no more greenhouses. Because it's a greenhouse effect, isn't it? I mean, if you're not, these ships are not traveling, then the greenhouses won't be produced. So no more.
Actually,
Trump ordered like 20. He wants 20 more, 50 more vessels, cargo vessels that for the Americans to build because they're all built basically in Norway, Sweden, Amsterdam. Right? They're built there. He wants America to go back to being shipbuilders because he says that's the new thing.
Good luck with that.
I know, but here's the funny part. I think we have one shipbuilding yard left in Philadelphia, and that's about it. But the funny part about this $100 per ton, people don't seem to understand. It's like a ship puts out, we'll say, 30,000 tons of whatever. So you start adding $1 to that, plus the other tariffs. So basically, no one can afford anything. So
No.
it's like, okay, because someone's got to pay for that. So who's going
Yeah.
to pay for that? Like, so
Yeah.
everything in the ship now goes to go up, I'm making up a number, $1.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's $1 and it's the other dollar or 5 or 10 with a tariff. So
For the
now
tariffs.
what was $20 now is $120.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, okay, what do you do? So it's
Yeah.
very interesting that everyone's like, oh, we're going to just keep charging when there's already technology out there where you don't actually have to charge, you just have to fix it.
Yeah, I have the same problem with my phone. I have to charge it a lot. Yeah.
Charging.
But
You
Yeah.
remember the last 2 months, there's just kind of a nice flow. The old guy's back.
Well, here's more of stupid good news.
Okay.
There's a thriving ecosystem that has been discovered with deep sea creatures after, a thriving ecosystem of deep sea creatures never before seen. It was discovered after an iceberg detached serendipitously from Antarctica.
Yeah,
Wow.
Koreans, North Koreans again.
Like, good
Some North
news
Korean.
that we're losing icebergs off of Antarctica. So
Well, it's a good thing that Titanic's not afloat.
Well, that's also a good thing because that's what Guy Standing said on his show. It's a good thing that Trump's decided this deep sea mining thing. So they'll just go down there and, now there's lots of space to go mining. They just go and rip the ocean floor up. And so, good thing.
Yeah, I get. Maybe they don't even need Greenland. We'll just
Oh my God.
plundering the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
You can't write this stuff. Like if this was a television show and the three of us were in a writer's room and you're like, I've got this idea. There's going to be an orange president and this is what he's going to do. People would look at you like, dude, this is never, ever, ever going to happen. And now we're actually living in this is never, never, never going to happen. Right?
We call it Crazy Town in script writing parlance. So you don't need to go to Crazy Town right away.
Apparently we did.
We're already living in it.
What
did you think about this? I heard this thing this morning on the BBC that Trump said yesterday. Sorry, Mr. Trump, President Trump, or your president. I don't give a monkeys, because I'm not going to get in anyway. But he said Mark Carney's coming to see him. He said, "What's he bothering to come for? What's he going to talk about?"
Maple syrup.
Yeah. So I thought, is that one of his, very famous negotiating tactics? He said, say, okay, come, we'll have a meeting, and then tell the whole world before he arrives what's he going to talk about when he gets here.
Yeah.
So that'd be fascinating.
So Mark Carney used to be the chairman of the Exchequer for the UK.
No, he was the chairman of the Bank of England.
Yeah, he's in the BOE.
Okay, got it. Well, it's the same Mark Carney, but so he bounced back to Canada, and now he's going to be the prime minister, elected largely because of anti-Trump sentiment in Canada.
Right.
Right. So now, so he's now the prime minister.
He should be. He got elected last week.
So then he's going to go on a mission to Washington.
Yeah, his first meeting is to go down and see and see
to say thanks. Thank you, Trump, for getting me elected.
Yeah, and now Trump's saying, what's he going to talk about when he comes? That was one of his quotes from yesterday. I thought, well, that's a good way to start a debate.
Yes. Yeah, but that's a Trump thing. It's the same thing when Trump said the other day on the news, we're talking to the Chinese and we're talking to this and we're talking to that, and the Chinese government's like, no one's talking to you. No. And he goes, oh, they're just saying that. And then Xi literally went on national television. He goes, no, we're not talking to America. We could care less. Xi's also, there's an article in the FT today. They're doing a big Press the Flesh tour, and they're reigniting all their political and strategic partnerships globally. Like they're going to Africa now. Again, they're going back to South America. China is literally
China's going on the offensive.
What's really funny is they're doing what they did in the 1400s. They're going back out into the world, letting everybody know they're alive. And then hopefully there's a guy named Zhao in 1407 that closed China off. I'm assuming this time they won't. But now they're like, if the U.S. is going to treat you so bad, why wouldn't you want to be our friend? So there's this whole article about, we've talked about it, but now there's an article it's like, oh, good. They listen to, the FT listens to our shows and then they write articles. But anyway, so they're talking about what the nice offensive. And I was like, okay, but
Okay.
they're smart because
charm
instead of getting
offensive.
the charge offensive, instead of getting kicked in the you know what, they're like, oh, screw you.
Yeah.
And so nobody seems to be getting that. China's not really. They're like, yeah, we're good. You know, there's a whole other world out there.
All the Americans will have to go to Europe to get their toy and the Happy Meals now, because there won't be any.
Yeah.
You know,
That can happen.
I mean,
Geppetto in Italy making the hand carved little dollies.
Yeah, I was listening to a trader last week, and he was saying if something doesn't happen in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he said there will be no plastic Christmas in the US. You know, there just nothing will arrive, nothing, because it's
no plastic Christmas.
All the plastic
surgery,
all the stuff that go, that gets sold at Christmas and lights and everything, all that sort of stuff. He said because basically the Chinese have turned all the boats around. So no, come back home, guys. Don't worry
no
about
more shipping taxes. Anyway,
and no more greenhouses. It's going to be a tough Christmas.
No. I don't know. There's still the English language versus Mandarin, and for all the countries that are like, we just learned English, and now you want us to learn Mandarin, which has got a whole pictographic alphabet. Seriously,
one word means 27 things, depending on how you say it, and if you write it the wrong way, it means something different. I have a friend, and they'll write something, and I'm like, what does that mean? They're like, well, if we do it this way, it means this, but if we do it this way, it means that. If we do it, I'm like, all right, just what's this word mean that you're giving me? So it's a very different thing. But most Chinese people speak English better than we speak English. Like when you meet them, they do really well. So,
really?
And they play good snooker as well. If you watch the world snooker.
Snooker?
He's the world champion yesterday. Chinese guy. No, it's not billiards. That's something completely different. Billiards is with 3 balls. He's the snooker world champion, the first Chinese snooker world champion, aged 28.
I'm sorry, when he's snooker, that's very British, though, isn't it? Is there like an international?
It's like a billiard. It's like a big billiard table.
Wales versus Scotland.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge sport, and it'll explode now in China. So there'll be
It's
Chinese
called snooker, I think, not snooker.
Snooker. Yeah.
Snooker.
Yeah,
you play with billiards. It's like a billiard game.
No. It has more balls than billiards.
Yes, it does. I mean, I played snook. We call it snook. We call it snook over here. And yes, I've played snook, so I know what you're talking about.
Look.
But that is so. Is it a Chinese national who lives in the UK?
Yes.
Thank you.
No. He's actually Chinese. He lives in the UK because he goes to a snooker training school.
She does
in Sheffield. But he's actually a Chinese national, and he won yesterday the world championship. So the whole world, talking about. I know it's crazy. We're talking about environment and everything, but about the Chinese slowly sleepwalking their way into our lives. Something as incredibly traditional and very British and very Western as snooker has now got a new world champion who's a 28-year-old Chinese sensation.
Would you like to tell us his name? Watch this. Do you want to tell us his name?
I could. I'll have to just check it.
Because my friend 3 Dragon on the floor and 1 hung low. I don't know his name. I'm here till Thursday. Tip your wait staff. Anyway, but very cool. So snook. So a Chinese guy won the snook championship. All right.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right.
Okay.
What do you have in climate change, Greg? Because now nobody cares.
You want more? Here we go. Well, you look that up, David. And I was going to talk about. Well, David sent me a link. David sent me a link for the flying air bike, the latest flying air.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good for climate, but I mean it's cool. There was an electric.
Cool. I want one for Christmas. That's great.
He sent it to you.
Santa will be flying his own jet bike. There's something that was already on the market, or that was launched. There's a launch video called the Jetson 1. This is an electric thing, right? And the new one is from Poland. It's called the Volo.
Good luck with that.
Air bike.
Right.
I know. And so this one is more of there's one where you kind of sit down like this, but this one is more like a motorbike. So you lean forward, and it's more like Iron Man.
Like the Jedi thing in Star Wars where you have to lean in.
Yeah, it was really cool.
A lot of comparisons to Return of the Jedi.
Gotcha.
But
Really?
isn't that always the same with technology? That it kind of follows, it
Ewok
follows science
pokers.
fiction.
Yeah.
The other thing I
no,
saw was people were racing robot dogs. So they're sitting on
okay.
robot dogs and racing them.
Chinese robot dogs, no doubt.
Yeah.
Nick,
course.
the
What else are they
Chinese
gonna
robot dogs are winning snooker.
Yeah.
But okay, they're racing robot dogs. I would better than real dogs.
Sure.
So you can sell these dogs now because they're using them for. The only problem is that I think the range issue. Again, we're back to batteries. Whoever wins the ultimate battery war will be mega rich. So that's the thing that's going.
Tesla
be China.
It's got a big leg up on the batteries.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Hey, so let me ask you this about the Polish bike, because I have so many Polish jokes. I don't know where to pull it out from. So let me ask you this. So tell me on the Polish bike, did it just have 2 tires? It doesn't really do anything, or is it really fly? Or because the Polish guy that won a gold medal in the Olympics, he had it bronzed. So I am not having a lot of confidence there that the Polish people have developed something I want to use.
I grew up with so many Polish jokes. I mean,
me too.
And I grew up in Chicago. There are more Polish people living in Chicago than in Warsaw at one point.
Yeah.
There was a joke about the guy who goes into the bar and he's like, want to hear a Polish joke? And the bartender says, I'm Polish. Everybody's in here is Polish. You still want to tell your Polish joke? And the guy says, not if I'm going to have to explain it 50 times. These are Polish people telling me the Polish jokes.
I know.
But I don't know. So I didn't realize Poland was into flying airplane technology.
I didn't know they could do anything. I mean, I'm just kidding, of course.
Something is. I'm going to Poland actually to speak at a conference on waste to energy plants in Gdansk in the beginning of June. So I can report.
We looked at a waste energy plant.
Ask them about that. About a Polish bike.
A Polish bike. We looked at a waste energy plant a few months back in Long Island that they were looking for funding, and we were discussing it with them.
Really?
And this is actually I should say last year, because when President Trump won, I said to the people that I was like, what does it do for you? Like, oh, no problem. It's great because the city wants it and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, really? And now I'm like, and how is it now? It's like they still want it, but now nobody wants to write a check. Because Trump keeps going, waste energy is crap and renewables is crap. Like, no. So like the tax, everything's going away. And it's kind of like, I'm still trying to figure out the game plan here. Like what happens is we're just going to, like, if you want to destroy the planet, listen, I'm all good with that. Let's get it over with, because here at the Lizard People Society and the Illuminati Club, we're ready. But for the rest of the 8 billion people that aren't members, like, what's the game plan? Like, you have China, which now is the good guy, if you will, like going, hey, we want to help the environment do this. And I'm sure they have an end game as well. But we're just blatantly saying no to everything. So what's our end game? Like, and I don't think there's thought to it. And that's the problem.
I think the energy problem could be solved. This data center energy problem could be solved instantly, because it could run on Trump bullshit. And then, because there's an endless supply of that
methane.
So
fumes.
No doubt. Just plug him in.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I was saying, if you could somehow harness the energy of Abraham Lincoln spinning in his grave.
Oh my God.
George Washington in there as well. Like,
but I mean, just think of it though. There seems to be no end game to what we're doing. I mean, I understand the slogan, Make America was already great. So that slogan's gone. All the mega caps are made in China. So, so it's sort of like, explain to me the end game. Like, what are you really trying to do?
You heard about McKinley? Like, Trump keeps talking about President McKinley.
Yeah, he's the one that was trying to be an isolationist 100 years ago, and it didn't work well for him either.
I mean, but that was the Gilded Age, I guess, and that was as close. I mean, I guess as close as America got to having the wealthy, industrialists run the whole show. So I guess that seems to, and isolationist. Yes. I mean, so I guess that's the era of when was America great? Like, apparently that is what he's trying to turn the clock back to.
I thought we were great after World War II is when we really started to flourish as a country. Because I don't think
Right.
during that McKinley time we flourished as
Right.
anything. I mean, it was great for 5 people, and with his wife's meme coin and his meme coin and all the crap that his kids are doing, which violates, I think, the Logan Act, but I don't know anything, so it's probably not. It would seem for him being president is great. You're making a shitload of money. Now the question is, what about the rest of the people? And you know, it's sort of like, what's the end game? How are you going to help everybody? I mean,
what I don't understand about Trump is that he's got this huge portrait in his office that he sits in front of Ronald Reagan, and Reagan hated tariffs and closed markets. He was a real, like, open everything up, guys. Let's trade. That's the way to go forward. How could he be, like, his hero as such? Or maybe he bought it through Shine or something, or Timu.
Remember what Reagan did? What Reagan did is, one, he stood up to the Russians. He was the first president that told the Russian ambassador to the U.S., you can't go to the back entrance, you have to go to the front. He was the first one that did that. He's also the one that said, we're going to deregulate everything and make it a free-for-all. Because if you remember back in the 80s, airfare was pretty much regulated, right? A coach ticket was X, first class was Y, and that was it. Everything was pretty much regulated. And then Reagan said, we're going to deregulate everything. And we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And then, so he made a very, very strong economy. He also had a really smart chairman. He had Paul Volcker. And Paul Volcker,
and he was making love to Margaret Thatcher as well, which always helps,
Well, I can't picture that because I will throw up in my pants. But anyway, but Reagan really opened up America to what America is. But also, the bad part of what Reagan did is he said, we don't need any more mental hospitals. We don't really need Social Security for people. It's like, as a Republican, he was like, if you can't fend for yourself, we don't care. So that may be why he has a portrait up, because it's that part of what Reagan did more than it's the, oh, by the way, look, look what he did. So there's probably a lot to it, and that's part of the thing.
You're on your own.
And the other thing is, most Americans don't remember Ronald Reagan or can't read a history book, so they couldn't tell you squat. So they're like, oh, here's a picture of Reagan, or even McKinley. Like, after Trump was coming in and he wanted to be like McKinley, I went and got a biography on McKinley and I read all about it. And I was like, interesting. This guy really screwed the pooch. Sort of like, he didn't really help anything.
Well, it's only quite recently I've realized that he wasn't called Ronald Reagan, because that's what we always referred to him as Ronald Reagan.
Space lasers. Yeah.
The
Star Wars.
In the UK, it's actually called Ronald Reagan. I didn't know that. But
well, anyway, I would. I'm going to update things. I don't know.
Wow.
I have a couple of Dutch examples. I got to turn.
Go on in.
I got to get going as well. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, we've been saying that about you for years, Greg.
Yeah. So since Reagan's nickname was Dutch, I'll use that as my transition. It's the great green transition.
There you go.
Yeah, no, Dutch stuff. I don't know. I have one. We can talk about one example. There's like old jeans becoming new jeans. There's tidal energy, wave power, and there's the blue battery. Which one would you like to talk about?
Tidal wave power. We already did a deal like that 20 years ago in the harbor of New York, so that I know of. The gene thing I'm aware of, but the blue battery I've not heard. Battery. So that one to me would be the coolest thing.
This is what David and I were talking about beforehand. I mean, if you have solar panels on your roof and you generate too much electricity, you got to like do something with it and put it back into the grid. Now they're making you pay for that.
That's crazy.
After they've sung our praises and said, just go and put them all on the roof. It's great. It's going to be the way forward, etc., etc. Yeah. And then I think somebody at the electricity company said, guys, is this how it works? I thought we had like a one-way, I thought our electricity went from right to left. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's going from right to
two-way
left.
Grid.
Left to right. Two-way grid, yeah.
Pandemonium.
We can't deal with that. Oh, and by the way, we're paying people? We're an electricity company and we're paying people? Come on.
Yeah.
So, We are currently, it's gone down to, I think it was 30 cents a kilowatt when we first had the stuff put on the roof, which is less than a year or so ago. Now it's down to 9 cents.
Wow.
And now I think in 2027, they're going to take it off completely. And then you actually have to pay if you're producing too much electricity. So what'll happen is what we'll do here is we'll just switch it off.
Yeah. No more electricity.
Because the only way to deal with it is to use a battery.
You have to get a battery, the home batteries.
And wait for it. The batteries cost about €1,000 a kilowatt. And we use 7 a day, so that's $7,000 before. And then
so sorry, a one-time purchase of a home battery is like €7,000?
Yeah, for 1 kilowatt.
For one,
every kilowatt's 1,000, so he uses 7 kilowatts a day, so it's 7,000 if you want to store it for the day.
Yeah, and it only stays there for a day. And of course, there's now going to be a tax on the batteries as well.
Right.
A scam.
Yeah.
Well, so there are a couple of Dutch options I just read about, and one is called the blue battery, the blauwe batterij, and it seems like the guy wants to make it into a hot water heater. There's a plan maybe of turning the hot water heater, like creating so much, I don't know, that you create so much hot water that there's steam, and then that creates electricity. I don't know, but when you need it. So that, okay. But then the other thing is called the Home Wizard. Have you heard of the EcoFlow? And
I'm not.
EcoFlow is it's Chinese, but this is a battery that I guess is, I don't know if this helps with the solar panel storage, by the way. I think you still need, like David is saying, to pay, for like a big Tesla style home battery.
Right.
Yeah,
but,
you have to. If you can't use it up in a day, then
right.
And you say, well, okay, it's been if it's a really sunny day, you're not running an air co, you produce a phenomenal amount of electricity. But then it's all gone in the day, and if you're not using it yourself, you have to put it back into the grid, and then you get a bill for putting it back in the grid.
I've heard
people are just going to switch them off, Greg. It's simple as that.
I know. Are there not neighborhoods with like the EVs? And if there are enough people with EVs that need to be charged, the EVs can basically be used as the home batteries if you link them up with AI.
Yeah, you can do that because it's cheaper. It will be cheaper to charge your EV up and then use the EV to run the electricity in the house at night because there's no sun, so no electricity, and then the next day. But that will all change as well because you could if you use electricity in your house, then it's charged differently than the electricity you get from the charging points. It's a different price point.
So if you have a home battery and you need to you need other people.
Well, 7 home batteries would be as big as a door. You can imagine these huge things. So you have to have the space for them in the house. You also have to have the electric cabling, which will take, if you're pumping all this juice through your house. Most houses, got the normal wiring, so that's going to be the next thing.
That's crazy. That's just crazy.
Nobody's thought. Well, they have thought about it. And then some electricity, somebody like Vattenfall or whatever, some big electricity conglomerate has said, "Oh, we're not making as much money as we should do, and now we're actually having to pay people." Oh, we'll stop all of that.
Vattenfall. Okay. So the short answer is, it seems like we're turning it off, the solar panels on.
Well, that'll be what happened.
That'll be interesting. Well, Greg's got to go, but before he goes,
that's the stupid. That's the dumb good news. Stupid good news.
Yeah, the dumb good news. I like the stupid good news. That was cute. What's any plugs we want? Because we won't see you for a month. So anything in
I'm gonna performing in Utrecht. So I'm doing a one-off corporate speaking stuff for greening the Schiphol Airport's auxiliary.
And you're going to Poland. Have fun.
Power unit, and going to Poland, talking about waste to energy plants, and I'll be back in Chicago soon, I think, with some kind of series on politics and drinking.
Well, thank God for the drinking.
Yeah.
You need that.
Not necessarily in that order, then, by the sound of it.
Yeah. Life is good.
I feel good. All right, kids. Greg's
Yeah.
got to go because he's a world famous comedian. He can't sit here all day with us. Anyway, thank you for
Yes,
watching.
he is indeed.
Don't forget to catch us wherever you get your podcast. You can see us here on YouTube. Greg will be back next month. And have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe and like and tell your friends. Gentlemen, it's always a pleasure. We'll see everybody next week. Cheers, or next month, I should say. Cheers, everybody.
Bye-bye.